Hello again. Chris Lee and Chase Robinson of Southeastern 16 here to preview the only matchup involving two top 25 teams within the SEC. That is 24th ranked Boston College and its road trip to Columbia, Missouri to beat the unbeaten and unscored upon Missouri Tigers. Line on this one is, what do we say, Missouri by 16.5, Chase?
Yeah,
I think is what
16
we're seeing
and a half.
this Monday morning. Over under 54.5. That implies a final score along the lines of 36-19 in Missouri's favor. The model I've got, which uses several mainstream ratings, has got Missouri closer to 13.5. So interesting. I don't think we thought for a second before the season we'd view this as an interesting matchup, but I think we think it is. We'll get in the reasons why in just a minute. But first, Chase Robinson, tell folks who presents our content, please.
Yeah, that is BetOnline, and they are the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. If you think you know your stuff, you can get in on a $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, you can go to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker or one of the over 150 slots games. So head over to the website today to get in on the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Let's talk about Bill O'Brien and the Eagles on offense. I think Bill O'Brien is a terrific coach. He did a great job rebuilding Penn State out of that disaster. And he's already pulled one road upset this year. BC went to Florida State and just took apart the Seminoles, who maybe weren't quite what we thought, but still credit to BC. You got a very balanced offense here. You got Thomas Castellanos is 19 of 26 for 340 yards, 6 touchdowns, no picks, so extremely efficient. 13.1 yards per throw. You've got a 3-headed rushing attack. 3 guys in 2 games that are already over 100 yards rushing. Treshaun Ward, Kai Robichaux, and Turbo Richard. And then you got Missouri's defense, which hasn't given up a point yet. Not going to say the Tigers were expected to be rebuilding on defense, but they lost Blake Baker. They lost some guys to the NFL. But Missouri, and granted the schedule has not been against world beaters, but you can't do better than 2 shutouts. Interested to see what this side of the matchup looks like, Chase.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this game. And just I watched the Boston College Florida State game, and watching Bill O'Brien, he's a pretty creative guy. I know Alabama fans remember when he was the offensive coordinator, Alabama didn't like him much. And so the Alabama fans are probably saying creative. No, but I do think Bill O'Brien he's worked with a lot of good players in the NFL. He's done a great job coaching college. Like, I do think he's a good offensive mind, and Castellanos, I feel like, fits really well under him. You were reading his numbers, and I look at the running back room is what really stands out to me. You said kind of a 3-headed monster for them running. Treshaun Ward is he's a dude. 20 carries, 132 yards. He has a touchdown on the season. He averages about 6.6 yards per carry, but he's not one that's going to get these really long runs. But when he gets the ball in his hand, he's pushing it forward. Like he's just a really strong runner. I noticed that against Florida State. And just looking at the Boston College offense overall, I mean, they average rushing about 285 yards per game. So, one thing they do in running the ball is they keep the ball for a long time, they being such a running team and can run the clock down. And I think that's what Florida State struggled with as well, and they do pass the ball as well, but I really like the run game. I really like Castellanos. And, there's several guys he targets, but Treshaun Ward, I mentioned him as a running back. He also comes out of the backfield and catches some passes too. He's really quick. That's something else that stands out to me about Ward. But Lewis Bond is a guy who has a touchdown on the year, 105 yards. He averages 17.5 yards per catch. Reed Harris, another guy who has made some big-time catches for Boston College. They've got a lot of guys who have made 1 or 2 catches, but those are the ones I feel like who are the explosive guys on this team. But this is a pretty decent offense that Missouri is going to be facing there with Boston College.
Yeah, Missouri has really cleared the bench so far in its 2 blowouts, teams that we thought they were going to blow out. But you got some guys like Triston Newsom, Really good linebacker. Joseph Charleston, their safety, who's been there a bit. Zion Young's done some good things. Johnny Walker, maybe supposed to be their next great defensive lineman. Marvin Burks has played well. Yeah, they've just kind of taken care of business. And I think maybe this is a game where your depth gets tested a little bit more. So I kind of like that from Missouri, the fact that they've been able to really clear the bench and play some guys coming into this one.
I mean, that helps. Guys will have experience coming into this game, and it is going to be the first real test that we get to see Missouri and how they respond to being scored on. Maybe they hold Boston College without scoring. I don't know, but with this offense, I imagine that Boston College will score, so we'll get to kind of see the response to this defense of Missouri.
Yeah. All right. On the other side of the ball, Brady Cook, about as solid as they come. He's led Missouri to 2 easy wins. He has thrown it 456 yards, 6.8 yards per attempt. So we haven't seen the explosiveness out of their passing game maybe yet, but they haven't really had to do that. Of course, we know Luther Burden, maybe the best receiver in the country. I think they turned him loose a little bit more this week, and Theo Weiss has been their leading receiver so far. The Oklahoma transfer who came in 2 years ago, 16 catches for $179. Again, they've spread the targets out to several guys. Mookie Cooper have a bigger role than he's had. And running the ball, they've been kind of interesting there. Nate Noel, Marcus Carroll, both showed some things at times. I like the third teamer, Kewan Lacy, who ran really well at the end of that Murray State game. So, yeah, I think it's maybe other than it's going to be Burden and kind of a committee of guys who made plays, and a quarterback in Brady Cook who's performed really well on the big stage the last 2 years.
He has, yeah. This is a really good offense for Missouri, and they've been putting that on display the last couple of weeks. But I like the running backs. We were wondering, well, Cody Schrader's gone. Will they be able to run the ball? You mentioned Nate Noel, Marcus Carroll, and those guys, and Lacy as well. Add those three guys, and their running back room is strong. And so, yeah, I like this Missouri offense. And you look at Boston College defense. Carter Davis is a guy to watch, defensive back. He's been a tackling machine this year for Boston College. And then Donovan, his last name starts with an E. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it. He has a couple of sacks on the year as a defensive end. He's good at working the angles to get back there. And so I think one thing Missouri does have going for them is exposing the secondary of Boston College. I think they could work these wide receivers. Luther Burden, Theo Weiss will get a lot of touches, and I think they can big play Boston College well enough to put a lot of points on the board.
Yeah, I think Boston College shut out Duquesne last week. Didn't shut out. Gave up 13 to Florida State in week one. The offense hasn't been explosive. I mean, I shouldn't say that. 28 points against Florida State, which has got a good defense, and 56 against Duquesne. But this is a different test. I feel like Missouri wins the game. Again, I think it's going to be a much better game than we would have thought 2 weeks ago. I think that defensive effort for Missouri so far, you lost your coordinator, you lost a bunch of guys you've picked up and maybe gotten better. This will be a good test, but I think Missouri's going to handle it. May not be going away. Could see this a close game in the fourth quarter, but I'll ride with Missouri's experience at quarterback and the performances the defense have given the Tigers so far.
Yeah, I'm going to take Missouri too. I think it's closer though than people are thinking. I think Boston College is going to score some. Again, I like what Bill O'Brien's doing there at BC, so I'm going to take Missouri, but I think it'll be closer than what folks think it will be.
Yeah, it feels like maybe 54.5 might feel a tad high for this game.
I think
the way
so.
the defenses have played.
Yeah,
so
I would agree with that.
All right, well, we'll be here to recap it on Saturday night along with the other SEC football games. Best way to get that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We cover SEC football, baseball, and basketball literally year-round. Yeah, we have off-season podcasts weekly in baseball and basketball, too, even when it's out of season. So be sure to check those out. Caroline.Smith at southeastern14.com. If you'd like to advertise, he's Chase Robinson. I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching Southeastern 16 presented by BetOnline.